When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show, Jason Davis. Mr. Jared Dubois live on a Sunday evening. And Jared, I don't know why they keep doing it. Major League Soccer should know better. That we're on the air at 9 on Sundays. Why on earth would they put a game on
Everyone listening Monday morning doesn't
during
care.
our show? I know. I wonder why they keep doing it. They know we're here. We've been here for how long? A decade plus at this point?
Yeah, I like that.
We've been through like 4 different MLS Cup playoff formats, Jared. You and me together. We've been through a bunch of
I've
different...
been through 2 different hair colors.
You got snipped in there somewhere?
Yeah, for sure. Like I got rid of my ability to procreate during that time.
My kid grew out of Halloween, and another one came along who hasn't yet grown into Halloween. So that's
He got a little
thing.
costume. He's got a little costume for little man.
He was little Batman today. He'll be little Batman tomorrow at daycare.
Does he like know the word
likes it.
Batman? He actually knows who Batman is.
I don't think he knows who Batman is. I think he just picks up on the cues when Mama says Batman. He's like Batman. He just likes to be tough and you know
He's got the Will Arnett voice.
he's good at it. He's good at being Batman. He's got the
Did
whole
you
thing
do
down.
any Halloween parties this weekend or anything?
No, we went out to, we had like one of these little town center areas, you know, like big screen, and then it's
super
supposed to
white.
feel
Super
very,
white,
feel like the city. Well, not in my area. It's not super
Okay.
white. My area, it's probably half Asian and then a mix of everybody else. But they were doing their own little go to each store on the little, you know, the little streets, and then we didn't actually do trick or treating
Yeah.
with Thiago because he's a little too small. But they were showing the Addams Family on the big screen, and people were kind of camped out in the fake grass and doing their
I
family
had a Halloween
stuff.
themed weekend as well. Friday night was trunk or treat at the kids' house.
Okay,
kids'
trunk or
school,
treat.
Like, I
Get
mean, it
down.
must have been like 500 kids at that thing. Like it was huge. And
What did your kids go as? What they pick this year?
So Maxie didn't wear his actual costume to the to there because it was kind of cumbersome. He's one of those inflatable like arm dudes at the car lot. Like it looks great, you know, but he can barely walk in it. So like he's shuffling his feet
like
the
one of
whole
those,
way.
like one of those inflatable dinosaur things I saw today.
Yeah,
one of those. Yeah.
He's like the kid in Christmas Story. I can't move my arms. Like he can't get his arms down. Like but he just put on like an old thing he had from before that was half a costume. And then my oldest, he is 5 from Umbrella Academy. I don't know if you watched
Okay.
that show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So,
five.
yeah.
5 is the kid who's actually the old man. Is that 5?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't watched enough of it to tell you. Oh, there's Philly going on right now.
think that's 5.
Oh, nothing. I thought there was gonna be a goal there, opening goal, but no.
Yeah, so we are obviously on the air during the Eastern Conference Final. So Jared both of us may comment on what's happening. As you said, people on Monday morning are like, whatever, we don't care about that.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to cover. The last thing, I was going to throw something in here about Halloween, and now I can't remember what
Oh wait,
it was.
do you have a costume? Did you have anything to wear? You in the way
So
and everything?
there was a little bit of a last minute scramble. The
Oh,
wife
for us
said,
too.
"Let's get a Thiago a Batman costume." Okay, so what will we be? And I was like, well, we could be like villains. We could be like rogue gallery characters. And so she got the Harley Quinn, but not the Harley Quinn, but like the actual like almost
classy Harley Quinn.
the classic, but like the full jumpsuit that looks like the Queen on or the Joker on the card or whatever.
More like Batman the animated series here, Harley
Yes,
Quinn.
right. And then I just got a Joker mask. Now it is you know, the scary Joker mask rather than the more fun Joker mask. I was gonna go do the thrift shop, look for the suit instead of like buying the cheap purple thing, but I did not do
Did
that.
it
So
scare
right now it's
Thiago?
I don't remember. I put it on for just a couple minutes.
The
I don't
wife
know.
and I also did last minute, and we ended up finding.
Okay, hold on. This is what I was gonna ask you. What's the best costume you've seen so far?
There's. It's really dirty.
Or
I can't talk about it on
collection
here,
or
but
thing?
let's see.
Oh, it's dirty.
Yeah, I saw one on TikTok. I thought was really funny.
Oh
and
no, I
dirty,
meant in
but-
person. Forget TikTok.
Oh, in person.
That's a different
okay.
planet.
Well, I mean, it's not a lot because it's just been like some kids at the trunk or treat. but
Okay,
let me
so no
see.
good ones at the trunk or treat.
Man, nothing I can think of
Okay.
right now.
Well, then I'll fill this gap by saying today I saw a family those little cars you can push your toddler around in? They're like
Yeah.
So it was a red car. I'm not assuming it wasn't actually a Ferrari, but it was supposed to represent a Ferrari. Kid was dressed as Ferris Bueller. Dad was dressed as Cameron. Mom was dressed as Sloane. And they were playing whatever the theme of the main theme of Ferris Bueller.
It has to be the music that lets you know who all those people are, because by themselves, none of them have iconic outfits.
I didn't even think about. I heard the music, but I don't think I registered the music. What I registered was the Red Wings jersey, and went, "Oh, that's
the Red Wings jersey." Okay, you're right. That's probably the iconic thing that kind of completed. Was it the bow bow?
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, it probably was when he's running.
Do we have to play licensing now because I did that?
Well, I think as long as you don't go 30 seconds, we just keep short. All right, let's talk about the soccer beyond the MLS Cup playoffs. And we could mention that LAFC made the final. I'm sure you're excited about that, Jared. You are, an Angelino or an Angelino area native. You got the whole
someone seems to think you have talent.
Support the city kind of thing going on,
this
right?
Is Los Angeles.
You love your town.
I need more than talent. I need stars.
I love aspects of my area. I love aspects of it. I'm happy that MLS Cup is coming to my area, and we may. Who knows if Philly sees us out? We don't know if they will or not.
Jinx
at this point.
Don't jinx them, man. Don't jinx them.
We might have a few of our Philly listeners coming out this way. I'm hoping maybe if everything works out, maybe we get like a little bestie disc golf game next weekend. I don't know if there's enough people come out, they're interested, and they're not hungover.
Talk about white. Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Sounds good.
You telling all the Philly people are white? Is that what you said?
I said disc golf is white is what I said. That's what I was saying.
But we'll see. I'm what I do like about the way that LAFC dismantled Austin. I mean, wasn't even close.
You want to pour salt on the Austin wound. You want to because LA
because they poured it on themselves.
This is what he did before the show, people. He said, well, is there any doubt at all that the Galaxy are the second best team in the Western Conference based on the fact that Austin got rocked by LAFC and we hung with them and we played them tough. Yes, exactly. That's how,
I gotta change the way I
think
talk.
I think you got a couple of bras in there with it, like brah.
No, there's no bras other than the ones on my wife's chest in this house.
No bra? Okay.
No, the boys know already that they will get mocked fiercely if they bring bra into my house.
A little bit has been said about this. There hasn't been a 1v1 matchup since like 2003 when the league was like 8
I was trying to think. I was wondering if the Toronto Seattle was 1-1 or not, but I never looked it up. I didn't know for sure.
No, Seattle won their lone supporter shield in 2014. Seattle,
but they matched up a couple times. I think 2 or 3 times.
They did. They did, but they in those years one was either one or the other was not the top seed out of their conference, at least. And I think in a couple cases they might not. Neither one of them were the top seed.
03, man. Are you sure about that date? I want to try to think of who those two teams were.
It's in that area.
If you knew, I wanted to try to guess and see if I knew who the 1-1 matchup would have been back in that year, whatever it was.
Well, like I said, it's like 5 playoff.
It's a testament to how that's one of the longest running tropes in MLS that continues to be true. I mean, this is the outlier, but that the best teams in the regular season rarely make it or win MLS Cup, and to have a 1-1 battle.
Playoffs are a bitch, man.
If it happens, once again, we could be speaking out of turn by people listening to this Monday morning. But
2003, Jared, go ahead. 2003. Give me a guess. First of all, how many teams were in Major League Soccer in 2003?
Oh man, I can't remember what the contraction year was. Contraction year, I think it was 2002 or 2001. So you lost 2 that year. And then, let's see, we gained Chicago in 98. And what was the next team we gained after Chicago? I'm going to say that there were, 20 teams.
Are you serious?
I don't know.
Are you serious? In 2003, you think there were 20 MLS teams in 2003?
Well, there's 30 now. And I'm trying to think how it was.
There's
20.
There's 28 now. There will be 29 next year.
Sorry, they want to get to 30. Sorry.
Yeah.
28, and see, they added 3 in Cascadia.
Come on. But that's like, okay, so I'll give you a hint. Seattle didn't even come into the league until 2009.
Yeah, I know that.
Toronto didn't come into the league until 2007.
Yeah.
Real Salt Lake didn't come in until 2005.
Yeah.
You're before that with these playoffs that you're trying to remember. So how many teams
And I can't remember if we lost 2 or not. So, I don't know, 18?
There were 10 teams in Major League Soccer in 2003,
there were not.
Jared. There were 10 teams in Major League Soccer in 2003. Do you want me to tell you what teams
I would have
those were?
put money on that fact that there was more than that.
So the Eastern Conference was Columbus, DC, Metro Stars, Revs, and Fire. Western Conference was Burn, Galaxy, Rapids, Wizards, and Earthquakes.
Man, good Lord, it's such a different league. So
And the
Houston
two-
wasn't
the
in
two-
yet at that point.
No, the two top teams were Chicago in the East and San Jose in the West. And they met in the
Yeah.
MLS Cup Final.
That's
And
might
the
have been
San
the
Jose
last. I
Earthquakes
can't remember if that was
won
last
4-2.
year. Landon's first year with Galaxy was 2003, I think. So, I guess that's the Di Rosario's last year. Maybe
Your brain's broken because Donovan
Dude.
scored twice in that game in the final in 2003. He scored
I guess
for
he
the
joined in
Quakes.
2004. Sorry. Well, I know the Galaxy won
All
in
right.
2005, and I knew he came
Okay.
to them either in 2003 or 2004. Right. before
Okay, look,
that.
let's get away from old man business and talk about what's happening right now. The World Cup is 24 days away. I don't even know. 22 day night. It's tomorrow. I don't know when it is. It's coming, and really, this is what it's about. With all the injuries, with the injuries to Weston and Luca Della Torre, what is your current U.S. men's national team midfield DEFCON? Jared, do you have a DEFCON for me? And really, hey, look, the midfield is the engine of the team, and you can't really separate midfield from anything else. And I know we got striker issues, and we got an injury there. We're going to get to, but I think this is just overall DEFCON right now.
It's an even keel 3 right now, just because none of the all the injuries in play have the potential of being back for
Take us
the
to
World Cup.
DEFCON 3.
Luca Della Torre might be pushing out. He may be done.
I think he's
but-
done. I don't think he can make the roster.
But even if Weston, so just to update people that may not know, Weston's injury is supposed to be they're saying about 15 days. And I think
15
we're
days.
20 days out from the World Cup right now.
Something like that. Yes.
15. Okay, so if he's close, and Weston, I mean, he was supposed to be out 8 weeks or something with his shoulder, and he was back in like 5.
Yeah,
the kid seems to heal fast. But you're not going to be happy that he's missing 2 weeks of training.
No. Yes.
Not
right,
knowing
exactly.
what is, and I'm not sure what is the nature of his injury. Do you know?
Hold on. I got it somewhere because I want to make sure I want.
I just wonder if it's muscular or not. If it's muscular, that's worrisome. A muscular injury right now is worse. If it's something like a light sprain, or
He
something
has
like
a
that.
thigh and an upper thigh injury. It's not a hamstring, and I don't know
It
if
could be a
it's
Charlie horse or
quad.
dead leg or something like that. But you're not gonna miss 15 days on a dead leg or something like that. You know.
Well, so before Weston picked up his injury, what I thought we might end up talking about is with Luca, if it's 3 weeks, okay, and he picked up that injury with 24, 25 days to go. 3 weeks is 21 days. Most people think about it, and that's how long 3 weeks is. 7 times 3. Can you risk putting him on the roster, not knowing if he'll be 100% when you get to that first group stage game? Because if you don't put him on the roster, well, then he's just, let's say he's healthy all of a sudden. Now you're messed out on Luca Della
you
Torre.
get 2 weeks. You know. I mean, the U.S. national team is going to be in Qatar for roughly 2 weeks. So it is 5 weeks of time we're talking about here total. So, yeah, if he can get back at 3 weeks' time, can he have a functional serviceness to the U.S. national team in those final 2 weeks if in limited minutes? And that's a tough one because for Berhalter, do you waste a spot?
Well, I
on
think so. I think that with Weston's injury, there's absolutely no chance you can take Luca now. You can't risk Luke. You can't risk having an injured backup at your number 8 spot. When
Even
you
with
have
a 26-man roster?
I just don't think you can. I think you can. I think you're depending on the severity of Weston's injury. I think you put Weston on the roster, and you could put Della Torre on the roster that you give to FIFA, and then you have the expanded provisional roster, and you're allowed to pick from that. I think injuries. I'm not quite sure on the deadline on injuries, but let's say they do Luca out, and they say, oh well, he's not ready to go. We can't use him. We'll swap him out for, I don't know, somebody mentioned Johnny Cardoso. Let's say it's Donny Cardoso. I'm not a fan of that either, but I'm saying. Now, the other thing that's happening right now with this whole midfield issue, but even before Weston went down, there was this question of, okay, and Yunus Musa has just come back from his injury the last couple of weeks. He's
Starting
been
again,
fine.
though, for Valencia.
Yeah, we feel like he's fine, ready to go. But even with Yunus and Weston healthy, there is a debate. There's a legitimate debate about how do you keep Brendan Aronson, who I watched yesterday for Leeds against Liverpool, and we'll get to that. How do you keep Brendan Aronson, Giovanni Reina, Tim Weah, who I think started today, right? I think he
Yes,
started
he did.
today
He did.
for Lille. Christian Pulisic, who, say what you want, is a dangerous player. You need him on the field. How do you not have them all on the field if they're all in form and healthy? And there's only one way to do it, right? And it's to change your formation. It's to change the way you play. Because are you going to swap out Yunus Musa for Giovanni Reyna if Weston McKennie is healthy? Are you going to swap out?
It's never going to happen, Jason. Berhalter is a creature of habit. He's not going to change formation the night before. I mean, World Cup Eve. You know, he's not going to do it.
Okay, but when I say change
He
formation,
may adjust in a game.
Okay,
but I don't think he's having a starting information other than what we've seen.
We've talked about the double pivot though. Like, why does it? Why I know we're like I'm one of those people who says that most of the time formation notation is bullshit, except it gives you a base idea, right? They were to work within the game from that base idea.
Double pivot give us? So, I mean, no, I'm not saying you're wrong, but let's talk about it. The advantage double pivot gives us is Tyler Adams gets to play in the natural pivot kind of formation he's looked fantastic for in the Premier League, playing alongside Mark Rocca. You know, if you play Kellen Acosta there, Tyler Adams now has more.
I'm not talking about Kellen Acosta. I'm talking about Yunus Musa.
Oh, okay.
I think if you drop Musa and play him from a deeper natural position. Now,
because most people that see double pivot, they think extra defensive coverage in the midfield.
I think you can think about it that way. First of all, again, we're talking about formation when you're defending, formation when you're attacking, right? You're going to play in different ways depending on if you have the ball or not. If you are dropping and you are defending, do you want Yunus Musa and whoever he's playing with, Weston McKennie usually, to be sitting higher and trying to press from that position or trying to block passing lanes from that position? Or do you drop one of them deeper, have him play closer to alongside Tyler Adams? Tyler Adams is going to go everywhere. We see it with Leeds, right? You free him up to go and cover ground like the monster that he is. And then when the ball turns over, and look, obviously build-up is part of this too, but you can start with a double pivot from a double pivot position in build-up because it gives you another option out of passing out of the back, which has been a problem, right? So if the opponent marks Tyler Adams out of the game or tries to limit service into Tyler Adams, outlets into Tyler Adams in the midfield from Weston, from Walker Zimmerman or whoever else, well, then now you have a problem. You need your center backs to cut out lines, to play balls into tight areas, which got us killed against Japan, or you're asking to go over the top. And we know we don't have the right players in the forward line, certainly at center forward, to go over the top and win balls.
Like that's you're saying, double pivot gives two options to the center defenders to play out to feet versus Tyler Adams at first.
Right. Now, of course, you're taking a player from that, but and you're probably going to end up with Christian Pulisic trying to drop into that space. If you're playing Jesus Herrera, he's going to drop into that space anyway.
Yep.
So, but then you need a threat in behind from your wide forwards. It's a whole.
So the question then becomes
cascading event.
The question then becomes if you run that double pivot, you have two choices of who to play in front of it. You have Brendan Aronson, who plays in front of a double pivot every week in, week out, in the Premier League. And what you get from Brendan Aronson is coverage, industry. I mean, he's going to fill that space in front of there. And some playmaking ability when he gets it. Versus the other option is Gio Reyna.
Sure.
Gio Reyna, you're not getting as much industry.
Are you working on the premise that Weston McKennie is out injured, or are you just saying?
Yes, I'm working on that because that's what's getting us to the double pivot conversation.
But let's not do that, right? Like, let's just, for the sake of the argument, and again, not presuming anything about Weston McKennie's status.
Because if it's a double pivot, I'm not talking about Musa as the double pivot. I'm talking about McKennie as the double pivot. For me, I want Musa ahead of that. Because McKennie, I don't feel like has the same ability to advance the ball and create. I want the person that's better creating.
No, but that's why That's why playing Musa next to Adams, especially in build-up, gives him an opportunity to pick the ball up deeper, where presumably there'll be less traffic.
But that means
right?
that means you're having Musa do more defensive responsibility, and I think that's better. McKennie's better at that.
It's just a matter of I think Yunus Musa is physical, which can help set a tone depending on what kind of approach you're taking. So
you're saying that the best creativity we're going to get from midfield is when Musa goes on a walkabout from somewhere deep, and that's something we should rely on?
That's what he's good at. No, not rely on. Obviously, you're asking Musa to pick the ball. So you're playing into Musa.
Every time
hold on, wait. You're playing into Musa, you're playing into Adams, one of those two. Hopefully you're finding them in pockets of space. Now, obviously, you have fullbacks that are pushing up wide to give options wide, right? And you're trying to play in combination. Maybe you're trying to release the fullback wide. I don't know if you play with Musa or with Adams or with whoever else. If it's somebody else dropping deep, if it's whoever the 10 is dropping into that position, fine. But you're opening the possibility for Musa to find a pocket of space, drive the ball forward, draw attention, and then play off to your 10. then play off to your wide
10.
player.
You're talking about McKinney.
No, I'm talking about Brendan Aronson or Gio Reyna, which we just got into.
In what you said is does not put McKinney out.
No, I said don't presume he's injured. I'm asking you if you would replace him if he was healthy. That's what I'm asking you.
Yes, right now I would. I probably would. I probably would, to be honest with you. But what I don't like about that Musa double pivot versus McKinney double pivot is that if you allow Musa to do what he does, which is go on a walkabout because he's good at it, what happens to coverage for Tyler Adams when he loses the ball? Because what you're asking him to do is not a very high percentage thing.
But isn't it what's happening now?
Yeah, but Tyler Adams is then has no part. The pivot's gone. The coverage is gone when Musa takes off and goes off. And that's why I think having McKinney playing more pragmatically is a better option.
That's about everybody else on the field understanding what's happening, right? Like obviously, if you're creating an opportunity, if you're pushing the ball forward into the attacking third of the field, and you've got a lot of bodies pushing forward, you're in danger no matter what if the ball goes the other way. It doesn't matter if you've got a double pivot and Yunus Musa is sitting deep. I want Yunus Musa to be dangerous in the attack. And I also want to give Tyler Adams a little bit of extra cover because right now he has no extra cover. I'm not saying that you're sacrificing Yunus Musa going forward by putting him deep next to Adams. I think that's ridiculous. Unless you play Acosta there, like you're saying, but then that's much more defensive.
Agreed.
And then you basically have no way to get the ball. Go ahead.
But you're playing against England. I mean, do you want that exposure of space when Musa goes forward with a team like England with the speed that they have and the ability to expose it? For me, I mean, if you're going to play double pivot,
you want to play scared. You're saying play scared.
I think it's the England game. Okay. I think it's the England game. I'm playing the same pragmatic.
Okay. So, but you could also play. You could do what we're talking about in terms of personnel and formation, and ask them to sit deeper. Like line of confrontation is further closer to goal. You're compacting the field a little bit more. I mean, there's lots of ways to go about this in terms of approach that's not about formation.
Okay,
right?
Here's what I'm saying. I'm going to give you two looks the way I think this works. If you want to commit to having a double pivot with Tyler Adams and Yunus Musa as the double, then I think it has to be Brendan Aronson in front of them. Because of his ability to cover when Musa goes and does whatever he has to do, and his ability to combine when Musa does go forward. I think he still can create. But I think if you're not going to play, if you're going to play someone like Gio Reyna there, or even Weston McKinney in the midfield, I think you need to have a more pragmatic.
It plays very differently with McKinney there because McKinney is not going to combine. I mean, he tries. He can do it on occasion. He's not. But see, what you don't get.
Tell me again what Weston McKinney brings better than anyone else that we're talking about right now.
He wins a ton of balls in the air. He is good. He's good. He almost serves as, he is a good back to goal player. So he brings guys in.
I think that what McKinney's best quality is that he's decent at everything. He's decent at everything. Yeah, and he's great in the air. I'll give that. But I don't think that with the season he's having with Juventus, he's got a couple set piece head balls. But people want him out there. They are not happy with the way he's playing.
Yeah, but that's because Juventus sucks, not just because Weston McKinney sucks. I mean, yes, he's part of that whole sucking problem that they've got under Allegri. But I don't think Allegri's just botched it. They screwed up a lot of their player acquisition over the last couple of years, and McKinney's part of that. And you could clearly make an argument that Weston McKinney isn't the player Juventus needs right now. It doesn't mean he's not good enough to do things at that level for somebody else or in the right system.
Let's have a separate conversation here. McKinney's not ready because there's a decent likelihood that he's not.
I'm just going to throw this in here from Clayton because I think it matters. Again, this is why he gets played where he does at Juve, and really what you're asking him to do. Not only is he good at winning the balls in the air, and like I said, I think he's good with flick-ons and playing little quick 1-2s. He also makes those runs off of those movements. He makes runs in general that draw attention and create problems for defenders. That's a factor here, right? It's the same thing that Christian Pulisic has gravity that matters, even if he's not getting a ton of touches or doing a ton of with the ball. If he's not
saying I'm a great lover
because
I give good foreplay. It ain't something that's like it's not something that's like you're gonna hang your hat about.
That's actually, you know what? I guarantee you that if you polled 100 women, like this was Family Feud, they would say that would make you a great having great foreplay does make you a great lover. You don't need the other. The other part is
skills
yes,
after
important.
that.
Okay, fine. I mean, whatever. Weston McKinney has traits that are good. It's just whether or not they work with the whole. And again, if you are going to change the composition of your midfield, if you're going to play the triangle with 2 at the base instead of 1, is Weston McKennie the guy at the top of the triangle? Or are you asking Brendan Aronson or Gio Reyna to do it?
So let's go through that exercise real quick.
This still does not solve the issue of how you get, and I guess you're leaving McKennie out of this question, but how do you get Aronson, Pulisic, Weah, and Reyna all on the field together?
Why do you have to do that?
I'm asking because people
anyone who thinks that has to happen has no idea about this game. Like, literally, it's probably half your caller base on SiriusXM, to be honest with you.
Whoa!
But
hold on, wait a second.
Listen, I've heard the people that call in.
Wait, did you just say that you are aware that I have?
Oh, I'm very aware, and I have some things off the air I want to talk to you about from this weekend on that. And I wouldn't expose you.
Okay, all right, so, all right.
Because here's the thing. You're not going to get them all on the field. Do you want to have an all-star game, or do you want to have a game that you can win? Like,
is it functional? Is it functional? Put them on the field, and I think you're probably right.
I loved seeing Kobe and like at the time Dwayne Wade and like all. You want to see all the stars on the court at once of the All-Star game, but it's also a shit show. You can't do it. You have to have guys that have good roles, and so for me. You're one of those guys is going to have to sit. It may likely be Weston McKennie because he's getting injured at the wrong time and he hasn't been on form necessarily. And Brendan Aronson is hot. He's hot right now. And the kid's doing fantastic things out there. So, and I think the other thing is you may have to compare yourself that Gio Reyna is not going to be a starter on this team unless you sit Christian Pulisic. Because Tim Weah is too necessary.
Well, so I don't, and here's the thing. I don't know that we're not going to see. And Jackie's got a good point, right? 5 substitutions is a big part of this. You don't have to get them all at the beginning of the game. You can get them in later on. You can play a half. And okay, Brendan's getting killed here, or it's not going well for Christian, and you can bring a Gio off the bench, or you can bring a Tim Weah off the bench if that's how you decide to handle it. I think it's possible that not just based on injuries, but based on the opponent, that you will see different combinations. So we don't expect to see the same starting 11 3 times in a row, right? That's not going to happen.
No,
it's just simply not going to happen.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that Gio Reyna is a starter for 1 to 2 of these 3 first-round games, but it's not going to be with all those guys you just talked about on the field at the same time. You may see all those guys in a scenario where you're chasing a game down 1-0 with 30 minutes to play. You might see a formation that does that, but I just don't think Greg
do it the way Graham Potter did it against Brighton. do it that way. Woo!
Greg Berhalter's job is not to find a way to get all your favorite names on the field at once. That's not his job, and you shouldn't want it to be.
No, but so and this is where we kind of get lost as fans because we are slaves to the moment, right? And we are sort of reactive to what we see at certain levels from certain players in certain games. So, Gio's back healthy and playing pretty well with Dortmund. He scored last weekend, had a good run out this weekend. They played midweek against City, a game that probably Dortmund should have won, but they didn't. So that's Gio. Tim Weah comes back healthy. Now, he's not doing a ton to sort of demand a place, but I still think that based on the way he plays, he's important to this team and needs to be on the field to start. And Brendan Aronson, as I said, I mean, the kid was absolutely balling out against Liverpool. And yes, it took a late winner for Leeds United to win that game. But they probably deserved on the balance of play to win it, not going away, but maybe 2-0 or something. Like I know they also got their goal from just an absolute howler, but still.
Let's put this up real quick from Burnman23 in the chat. That CP is a super sub. Can only have 1 free roller. That's Gio. He's better. But the reason I want to bring this line of thought up is because what's the likelihood that Stanley Tucci and Potter are both wrong about what they see of Christian Pulisic day in, day out?
And what do you mean by
his best use may be as a substitute change of pace player? Are these guys really that bad of coaches and we're better on the sidelines?
No.
And doesn't that also solve the problem? Hold on, let me finish my statement. Doesn't that also solve the problem of how do you get a talent like Gio Reyna on the field more?
How do you solve a problem like Gio? Is that what you're telling me? How do you
get Gio Reyna on the field when he is playing better than Christian Pulisic right now?
You're gonna take my Sound of Music cue? You're not gonna take my Sound of Music cue? Okay, fine, whatever.
I've never seen the whole Sound of Music movie.
I thought you were a musical guy. You've never seen the Sound of Music? It's not good. It's a classic. Doesn't matter if it's good. Go see it.
How are you watching music about Nazis?
They run away from the Nazis.
The
They fight back against the Nazis. Are you against fighting back against the Nazis?
So a deer.
Okay, look. Gio, but the thing about you're saying that Potter and Stanley Tucci both
maybe they have unlocked Christian Pulisic, and that's who he is.
But I don't think you can apply like that. That may be you may be onto something about they know he's good in this role, and they both have seen it the same way. But we can't equate Chelsea to the U.S. men's national team in terms of the player pool, the available players that they have at their disposal. Like, it's not the same thing for Chelsea and for the national team. So
you're saying you can't take what happens to their club teams into account for the national team? Come on, dude. We're doing it with Brendan Harrison. We're doing it with Tyler Adams. Come on, that's too easy of a
That's not what
cop-out.
I'm saying. I'm saying you're guilty of applying. Well, he's a sub there, so maybe he's a sub with the national team. Well, I'm simply saying, like, okay, he plays as a sub with Chelsea most of the time. Although I think he got couple starts in a row now losing to Brighton 4-1 is not good, so I don't know what happens next for Chelsea, but he got a couple starts in a row. You're saying that he's a sub with Chelsea, sub with the national team, but I'm just saying, like, you shouldn't even consider whether he's a sub with Chelsea when you're the national team manager and you're looking at your group and deciding what the best team is. If you have somebody who can step into that role who does it in a way that fits your team and works better, absolutely. Doesn't matter if Pulisic's a sub at Chelsea or not.
Sure it does.
No, it does not, because if he works in your system, if he's fit and healthy and works in your system, you play him if he's at that level. Now, again, he could be usurped by Gio Reyna. That's your kind of argument, okay? Gio is a great player, and I think Gio's the better player, but Gio is also more of an in-combination player. Gio is a player who can do less on his own than Pulisic. Now, that's not to say that Pulisic
Tell me last time Pulisic did something on his own in this team.
First of all, he's still capable of it. Whether you're saying he didn't...
I'm capable for going for 45 minutes, but I don't.
No, you're not.
I got a good 5.
Pretend.
I got a good 5.
You're not, but you're not.
There was a time. Just like Christian Pulisic, there was a time when I could.
No. Okay, all right, whatever. I'm just saying that this is not Pulisic has to start. It's ridiculous you take him out of the lineup. That's not my argument. I'm simply saying that Christian Pulisic, deployed in a team that can take advantage of what he does, gets something out of him in a way that might benefit the group, right?
Either way, I don't think Gio's in a position that he can really... I don't know if his fitness or everything like that is going to be a position where he can start multiple games at the World Cup. But if you were in a position where you wanted to find a way to start Gio Reyna, that's where I would look. I would bench Christian Pulisic and put Gio Reyna in if you were in a position where Berhalter thinks that Gio Reyna gives you the best chance to win. If Gio Reyna gives you the best chance to win, that's where you find it. You bench Christian Pulisic.
So you do believe that right now? You think that Gio gives you a better chance to win?
Oh,
I don't
know. I don't get to see what their training is and everything like that. I don't know. I just haven't seen Christian Pulisic actively contribute 90 minutes at a time in quite some time for the U.S. national team. So we're supposed to bring him in and play him 90 minutes every game because he may have a moment of brilliance at some point.
When did you see Gio Reyna do that last?
I haven't.
Okay,
but
so
I see him. No. This is where club performance comes into play.
Okay.
What do you mean? Tell me, when's the last time you got to watch Christian Pulisic for 90 minutes at a time?
You are not valuing these things equally. You're saying Christian Pulisic is a sub and hasn't been scoring a ton of goals for Chelsea, and that's the reason I think that he shouldn't start for the U.S. men's national team. Gio Reyna's played like 130 minutes or 185 minutes, and you're like, he's our starter. Let's go.
That is not what I said to you.
But that's what you implied.
If you felt that Gio Reyna gave you the best chance to win, that's where you found it.
Is Gio Reyna in our lineup making a better team than the Christian Pulisic?
And I told you, I don't know. I'm not seeing the games inside and out, but you don't like that day in, day out. You don't like that question. You like to put people into a fixed box, which you never sit in, and then poke at them.
Christian Pulisic's still a starter in my U.S. men's national team lineup if I'm picking one today. I want Gio Reyna around. I want him as available as possible, but I'm not starting
because Christian Pulisic does what for us?
He's still the best option available that you actually know what he can do, right? Wow. Gio Reyna doesn't have. You have no book on Gio Reyna. If you're saying Gio Reyna should be in the starting lineup, that's fine.
For a starter, I would put Brendan Anderson before Christian Pulisic as well.
Okay, then give me your lineup with Brendan Aronson and no Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna also there somehow. Tell me how that works.
I didn't say I put Gio Reyna in there as well.
Okay, then leave Gio. Okay, stop. Then just say what you're saying and tell me how you would line up the U.S. men's
right
national
now,
team.
I would probably put. I honestly, if Gio Reyna was fully healthy, I would start him over Christian Pulisic right now. But I think but I would not put Brendan Aronson in the midfield at the same time. I would play the MMA midfield with Gio Reyna up top. Because I think that there's a better combination of passing with MMA, with Gio Reyna there. And Brendan Aronson, I think, is more of a guy that wants to run with the ball, create chaos. I don't know he's quite the best combination passer if he's in the midfield. So I would go MMA with Gio Reyna on the left, striker to be named later, whoever. And, well, actually, I would probably pick for if Gio Reyna's in the lineup, to be honest, Ferrer or Sargent. And then I would put Way on the right side.
Okay, all right. I mean, that could
Sorry.
work. I'm not saying it's wrong. I don't know that it's wrong.
I just don't believe in Christian
At this
Pulisic
point?
anymore as a week in, week out starter for the U.S. national team.
All right.
I never see him play.
On pure talent.
And when he does play for Chelsea, he produces as a sub.
On pure talent, when combined with an actual chance to play and whatever, health wise, like fitness, when combined with fitness, Christian Pulisic is still the best American player. Gio Reyna might be more talented, but we don't have enough data to say for sure that Gio Reyna is a better player. So
I'm fine with your statement. I would change it to Christian Pulisic at one time was the best. I don't know if he is anymore. I don't know.
Who's a better player than Christian Pulisic for the U.S. men's national team? Who's a better player?
For the U.S. national
Is Tyler
team?
Adams better?
Tim
for the
Way is a
national
better
team?
player for Berhalter system in the national team. I'm just telling you. If that's what you said for the national team. Tim Way is a better player for the
All
way
right.
Berhalter plays.
You
with
think
the
that
national
Tim
team.
Way is a better player than Christian Pulisic?
That's not what I said. Why do you do this?
I said he's
That's
a better.
not what I said, and you
I
know
said
it's not what
who's
I
the
said.
best American player. I said who's the best American player. That's
You
what I
For
said.
the U.S. That's what you said. And I meant you meant for the team, not the
I
best
said
American
Christian
player.
Pulisic is the best American.
The best American player is Gio Reyna.
Can we rewind the tape? Nick, can we go back about 5 seconds and figure? Never mind, forget it.
The
Okay.
best American player right now.
Can we
is
talk
Gio
about
Reyna.
something fun for a second? I mean, this is all kind of built on the fact that there are guys playing well. Now, injuries are an issue. Sargent's out injured now. We don't know exactly what that means for his status. Maybe we'll come to that. But Brendan Aronson is part of a team that just beat Liverpool at Anfield and did it in a way that, look, he needs more points and nothing is settled and they could decide to still fire his ass after the World Cup with the break and everything. But that goes a long way towards helping Jesse Marsch keep his job, at least through Boxing Day and into 2023, Jared.
Yeah, I think he bought himself a transfer window now.
A couple things. I'm happy for Jesse. Obviously, I'm watching Brendan Aronson play like that. It's incredible. And I've said this several times. I said it after his second or third game at Leeds. He's not going to be at Leeds all that long if he keeps playing like this.
For sure.
There's no reason that somebody else won't come in and drop 50 mil on Leeds and he plays Champions League soccer in the next year or two. Like, that's how good Brendan Aronson is right now. And Tyler, when you set him up to succeed, and you mentioned Mark Rocca, that's important. Mm-hmm. When you set Tyler Adams up to succeed, he is insane how much ground he covers. Now, I'm not putting him on N'Golo Kante level, defensive midfielder.
I don't think he's that far off.
The kid can absolutely play if you and this is about maximizing his, is Tyler Adams the best passer? No, he's not the best passer. But he actually is when he's comfortable and when he feels like he can actually get forward a little bit because he has help, he can actually do some things. And he did some nice things against Liverpool. And I thought the win was deserved. I thought Jesse's celebration for the goal was absolutely trash. I hated every second of that thing. I don't know what that was about.
What do you mean? Have some sauce on the sideline, man.
No,
Have some sauce.
It was the face and the hand and the fist pump and I don't know.
You know what though? That got him more screen time on Sky Sports or something like that than. So what? Be American. Do it different.
No.
Like,
He can celebrate. It's not being emotive. It's not like having a big celebration. Celebrate your ass off. Give me the Bruce double fist. I don't know.
Oh, that's not a celebration.
Well, something. I don't know. I just didn't like. What was this? Like a guitar? What was that?
So throwing the water bottle. Was that Jason Davis approved?
Sure. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
On the knee celebration of the Brendan Aronson goal, was that approved?
Yes, that's approved.
Tight
It's just
acid
the
wash
one-
jeans, Jason Davis approved?
It's just this thing.
tight whitewashed jeans, are those Jason Davis approved?
Not sure I'm on board with Jesse's wardrobe.
Jesse's hitting the gym though. He looked like he has some pec action, man. Have you noticed that? He got some muscles.
Somebody pointed out that sweater was maybe a little sheer, a little see-through, depending on the lighting situation. Like maybe
I'm wondering if it has like built-in like Batman's like thing, like has all the muscles built into it already. But here's one thing with Jesse Marsch. Like I said, I think if you're watching Leeds games week in week out, outside of the Brentford game where he got sent off and they got outplayed, there's not many full games they get, but they've outplayed. They usually own a half, and their style of play is admirable, and I think they execute it well.
Oh, they're completely. I mean, I'm not saying they're crazy open. They're definitely tighter than they were with Bielsa in charge, but there's
defensive issues. There's defensive issues. No, but that being said, they would be in more games and more points if they had a quality striker. And that's unapparent. The last two games, that's been so apparent. So Jesse Marsch may, with this win against Liverpool, may have bought himself the chance to shop for a striker in the winter transfer window.
I hope the board gives him actual money to spend. I don't know where they go get somebody that can score goals. I hear Cincinnati has a decent goal scorer. Perhaps they could go and grab that guy.
I'm sure they'll shop the World Cup. There'll be someone that displays themselves at the World Cup.
That's not really the best way to do that, but I understand why it happens. Bamford had a chance to put that game away.
Oh, and why would you take that touch with your left foot instead of setting up with your right to open up and for the shot? It's horrible. Then even on the Somerville goal, it's a messed up Bamford touch that he gets an assist for. That it's a comedy of errors when it comes to Bamford. They just don't have a good player. I mean, Rodrigo can play striker, but that's not where you want him. You don't want him to play that position.
Well, if he wasn't playing striker, he's not in a position to take advantage of that mistake and put that ball away. So he's playing high. He's playing up there. At that point,
it's unfortunate, but like I said, I think he's bought himself just enough time, and I think this team looks like they still play for him. This team still looks like they still believe in Jesse Marsch as a coach. When they go on the field, they execute his game plan.
Whatever my issues are with Jesse's celebration on Somerville's goal, I will say that I think I discovered something this weekend.
What's that?
It didn't happen. It didn't happen with Fulham, and it didn't happen with Everton, and it's not happened with any other team that has had. In England, anyway, an American presence.
Okay.
But I was watching that game. My wife was feeding Tiago, right? They're all in the same big open space. Not big, open space. So I'm in the living room, but I'm 15 feet away from where Tiago was eating breakfast. And when Somerville scored, I yelped and I jumped up and I was like, I felt that like, oh, I care about this. It's not just, I don't know if
you care about because it's an American-owned team.
I know.
You don't care because it's an American-owned team. It's because Americans are contributing to it, and they have a lot on the line.
I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if it's like a Leeds thing or if it's the American thing, and if all the Americans left,
Jesse Marsch to do well. Why wouldn't we want Jesse Marsch to do well?
No, hold on. I'm trying to determine.
The flag.
I'm trying to. You always accuse me of not picking teams and not having any passion for.
Oh, you're saying you're Leeds till you die now?
Jesus Christ, man! Can I actually explain this, or are you just going to shit on it?
I'm
saying that maybe something started. That's all I was saying. Wow. Okay. So move on. I'm not allowed to like Leeds. Okay, that's good.
No,
good
you are. But do you feel like it's?
Did I say
only
Leeds
connected?
till I die? Did I?
No, I'm just saying that's my thing about why you've never picked a team. Like I always say, like you've never had one team you've supported the whole way. So I'm saying, do you feel like that's developing with Leeds, where this is a team that you've?
That's what I was trying to explain to you. That maybe it was. I got accused of scaring Tiago because he was like, "What's happening?"
So is that different than how you felt with Fulham back in the day?
Yeah, I don't remember having that reaction to Fulham. I really don't. I mean, maybe.
I remember thinking, like, I'm going to be a fan of Fulham for a long time. And then as the Americans left, my attention kind of went with it. But I know there's guys out there, there's American fans out there that still support that team.
I've always had a soft spot for Leeds. I mean, nothing like I support Leeds, but I've always had a soft spot for Leeds. You know, back in the day, Jared, if you remember a long, long time ago on the Champion Soccer Radio Network, there was a Leeds United show. That I can't remember the guy who hosted it. He was from Leeds. It was called Glory Leeds United or something like. No, Graham was the guy who ran the I
thought he also had a show too, though. I couldn't remember.
He did, but it wasn't the Leeds United show. And look, I just the story of Leeds and how they basically screwed everything up financially and had to drop down and like that's not the fans' fault. Like they didn't. I know they wanted European football and they wanted to be challenged for Premier League titles But it's not their fault.
There is something that's easy as an American to support about Leeds when it's the the underdog, the guys that work hard. That's something, and I think that's why Brendan Anderson and Tyler Adams have come into that team and shown well with the fan base, is because I feel like they emulate that working class mentality that they're never going to be. Well, not never, but it's unlikely that they're going to be that top 4, top 6 team year in, year out, perennial. So like to have guys that will fight for the team the way, and that's what's interesting about Jesse Marsch's style, as also an extension of Bielsa's as well, is that I think that style matches the way Ellen Road wants their team to play. And so the Americans that are involved, I think, have rarely set a foot wrong, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams are really not the problem. I mean, you can look at Skelvik, you could look at a few different areas of the defense. I mean, Cooper, I don't know how he missed a ball 6 feet from him and almost gave up a goal in that game. But
by the way, give Messier tons of credit for the way he played in goal.
Fantastic tonight. So Jesse Marsch bought himself some time. I think it's good for Leeds overall. I'm sure there's some fans probably still want him gone even after this, but it's just interesting how he can get results against the top teams, but not the bottom. And I wonder if top teams aren't used to having the type of pressure and fight that Leeds naturally has in their play style.
Yeah,
coming at him.
There is also just it's a game that rides luck so much. I mean, you just said it, right? That Leeds United has been the better team, at least for a half, in almost every game they play, no matter who they play. But for whatever reason, and look, I'm going to say that Patrick Bamford is where goals go to die, and part of this is him. But for whatever reason, they can't figure out how to take advantage of that superior play. It's not like they opened Liverpool up on both of those goals and had great team moments. Like, one of them comes from a mistake, and the other one comes from a throw-in, right?
They got down in the touchline, and it was crossed in by foot, but I'm not sure where it came from.
I think it had come off a throw-in or something like it. Whatever it was. Again, it was Somerville, shinning it after you said Patrick Bamford had a poor touch, right?
Yeah.
Those things, that's luck, man. I mean, they put themselves in good positions. Don't get me wrong, and give Somerville credit for the far post finish, but that's not like a reflection of Leeds being better than Liverpool, except when you look at the scoreline at the end of the game and you look at the way the game played, you go, oh yeah, that feels right. It feels fair that Leeds won that game, even though their goals didn't come from the better parts of their play, right?
Yeah.
They didn't come from some great move. Brendan Aronson clanged off the crossbar.
Oof,
if he scored from that one, then that's wow, what great play. Mm-hmm. So Jesse Marsch's teams are capable of this, right? They're capable of that. But it seems the luck, and because they're Leeds and not Manchester City, their dependence on luck is so much bigger. It just hasn't gone their way. And you wonder, like, if it flips over a little bit, they're in 12th and Jesse's fine. Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, they're not too far off. I mean, there's a number of teams tied, I think, at 12 points right now. They're not too far. They got the best goal differential of all those teams. We'll see. Like I said, Jesse Marsch hopefully has bought himself a transfer window, and we'll see what he can do, hopefully, with a better striker in tow. Brendan Aronson right now will be sitting on 4 or 5 assists this season, if so.
Everybody while listening to this on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, so everybody from the future knows what happened at the end. But right now, NYCFC has a lead on Philadelphia. I didn't see who scored it.
It was Morales, and the player
Morales.
that they weren't even sure was going to play this game, how many minutes he could go for. He puts one in from about 23, 24 yards out, just right on the outside of Andre Blake's post. And
I'm going to tell you what, what I've picked up since that goal is Jose Martinez has got to be careful. That dude might get himself sent off if he doesn't bring it back down a couple notches. So
yeah,
Philly chasing the game now, which should make the last half hour or so pretty interesting. What else is on our agenda? I looked at the clock and suddenly I realized we've already done 50 minutes.
In the injury to conversation, I don't believe we covered Josh Sargent on that.
I mentioned him in passing, but yeah.
But the hard part is, it's like splitting hairs right now at a few different positions, and striker being one of them. What little thing that's going to be going on November 8th, the day before the team is announced, is going to be significant enough to swing Berhalter on this, because you got to feel that a lot of these guys are really tight, and there's not much separating them at this point. What is that little knock going to be the thing? Is that little bit of out of PFOC is not necessarily informed like he was when he started the season.
Not scoring goals, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so it's like there's going to be these little hairs to split, and one of them is going to be a goalkeeper as well.
I think that probably next weekend when we do our next show, that's when we need to lock down. Okay, this is what our roster looks like.
Yeah,
because we'll be honing in on November 9th and the drop, and it will be dependent on things at that moment. And speaking of that, the center back situation. All right, so Weston's healthy. I should mention this, Jared. Did you know that the group that's in Frisco for the fitness camp? Yes. They lost to the Houston Dynamo or the reserves or something.
Like people are making a big deal out of that. You got a bunch of players playing together that aren't really a team. And the Houston Dynamo beat him. Okay, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not worried about that at all. If you are, you're just trying to find a reason to hate on Berhalter. And listen, there's plenty of reasons to hate on him.
Oh, I had a tweet from somebody who had a whole thing about how this is reflective of the fact that they're not focused and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay,
whatever.
I mean that can't be serious.
It's a bunch of random dudes that don't usually play together, playing together, and who knows? I mean, I'm not worried about it. They're not a real team. They're just in there for fitness.
Yeah.
But Christian Roldan's one of them. How many minutes has Christian Roldan got over the last 4 months?
Couple of guys who, that's why people are worried. Oh, Christian Roldan's going to be in the World Cup team.
He might be, because you got Luca Tiller and Weston McKinney with question marks right now. Would you rather have Christian Roldan or Johnny Cardoso? Give me Christian Roldan. But the problem is that the name that everyone wants to hear right now
Georgi Mihailovic
is Georgi Mihailovic, because it's different. It's something that gives you something different than those guys, and now there's potential room in the midfield. But Berhalter's not going to take a guy that's never played for him.
No, I don't think he's going to do that. Certainly not ever played in that position.
He's not even bringing him to. And it's understandable why he's not at the camp. If for people that are out there outraged why he's not at the camp, the guy's trying to stay healthy to make sure he's ready for AZ when he gets to the Eredivisie.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take the chance. If he really feels he has no chance of World Cup, and why would he? Why would you go risk getting yourself injured? Be ready for
Berhalter could have said, "Hey, Georgie, come into this fitness camp. Oh, I can't guarantee you a spot on the World Cup. You're just going to be here for this, and who knows? I mean, we're bringing guys we're considering, and we're considering you. And then Georgie has a choice to make. If he doesn't think he's really in the mix, and he missed the January camp or June camp rather, which really killed him, who knows where he would have played? I still don't think that there's. If you look at the profile of the player." Like, you could argue about Gio playing in an 8. I don't like it all that much. I can maybe see it. I mean, did he come in and play in that spot against Mexico when he made that run? I'm trying to where he was on the field.
Run together for me, dude.
He may have done it. He may have done it. I know Brendan Aronson has played midfield. He played in midfield against Saudi Arabia or whoever, and when we had an injury. So Weston was out, I think. I think it's possible. But Georgie is even more of a pure attacking player than either Aronson or Reyna, right? It's certainly Aronson, because Aronson's press and the way he works
I would
is
say
defensive.
Reyna's but I mean, Georgi Mihailovic for Montreal almost plays like a striker. I mean, he's so far up there.
Right.
And I don't know that Berhalter's ever going to play a player like that other than in substitute minutes. But that's why you bring Georgi Mihailovic anyway. You're not bringing him for a starter. You're bringing for something different.
Yeah, I know, but again, I think Berhalter's so locked in. I'm not saying I wouldn't bring him. I would bring him. Georgie would be in my camp or my team or whatever.
It goes back to why did.
But the profile of the player.
It's similar to what Arena back in the day. Why bring Brian Ching when you already have McBride and leave Twellman behind? Because the coaches want to be able to execute. It's more important to them to execute the same vision if a player gets hurt than have something different when you're behind in a game.
Yeah, something to that effect. Something to that effect for sure. So anyway, this is all going to get to the center back situation. So Walker Zimmerman's in that camp right now. Aaron Long's in that camp right now. Those are the two MLS guys that look like they might be starters.
Cameron Ka'avea is making a good statement for himself.
Cameron Ka'avea, although Celtic is definitely not moving on in the Champions League, playing well in the league in Scotland. I think he has a real shot. There is the dark horse of Eric Palmer-Brown. There's Mark McKenzie, who's playing very well in Belgium. All reports.
There's the pale horse of Tim Ream.
That seems like.
Damn, dog, that's in a post.
That seems like anti-ginger bias or something. Like, are we gonna get in trouble for that?
Red hair. I didn't say anything about it. He just said he's pale.
Well, yeah, but red hair comes with pale, and then pale. Okay,
that whole island is pale.
Look, I'm one of those pale people, and I have not
the
red
lighting
hair.
in here is making me look like the lighting.
You look way paler than I do. I just look red, though. That's the thing. Fair
sickly.
enough. I just look red. Mostly of the time I'm red. But there's a name that has not been mentioned. And look, I don't think there's any chance he makes the World Cup roster. Okay, I'm going to say that right now. Just get that out of the way because he has not been in the mix. By the way, Philadelphia has tied it up. So this is going to be an interesting last 15, 20 minutes, whatever this is. Austin Trusty, Jared, is tearing it up at Birmingham City.
Back heel goals. Like flying back heel goals,
whether
from
he
a center
meant
back.
it or not.
First,
who
I don't
cares?
care. I don't care. Like the dude, we think McKenny's good on set pieces. What was that 3 goals in the last 3 weeks from set
Something
pieces
like
for Austin
that.
Trusty?
Yeah,
like
right. But it's not even
that. He's all reports are he's playing very well as well.
He's playing as a left center back in a back 3 for Birmingham City.
Ooh,
so
isn't that a place where we're missing someone?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Not a back 3, but
we're not playing a back. The United States is not playing a back 3, so there is that to consider, right? That he plays in a system that Berhalter has used, but doesn't use pretty much anymore. Still, the fact that guy is getting, and it's to the point now. And I know, look, hype is hype, and who knows how much of this is like, oh, it's real. Look, he's playing. A couple of things. You could say that he's absolutely playing well for Birmingham City. He keeps making Team of the Week in the championship. Everybody there loves him. His manager can't stop talking about him. Then you get to, hey, is he maybe someone Arsenal needs to bring back sooner rather than later? Because he's on loan to Birmingham City from Arsenal after the transfer from Colorado. And when that happened, when Austin Trusty went to Arsenal, everybody was like, oh, okay, well, we know what this is. This is stash talent, send him on loan, make a couple mil on the backside. That's what Arsenal's going to do, just like Chelsea does and Manchester City does. It's starting to look like, no, Austin Trusty could legitimately be an Arsenal player in the next year and a half or 2 years.
Let me give you like 5 names. I'm going to give you 5 names, and I just want you to have a luxury pick for the U.S. national team. You can take into account what they bring to the team, what position, what. I'm going to give you just like 5 or 6 names right here, and I don't want you to pick one luxury player, okay? Austin Trusty.
I'm going to pause you for just a second because NYCFC stopped defending for some reason, and now it is 2-1 to the Philadelphia Union.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that. I'm about 30 seconds behind you, but
gaps, my friend. Okay, luxury player. Go
luxury
ahead.
player, just a player that you can just take. Like there's an extra spot at the end of after there's 25 picked, one guy, just a luxury.
Okay. All right.
Austin Trusty. Tim Ream.
Okay.
Florian Balogun.
Following Balogun? You're going to be following
Balogun?
Balogun?
I'm telling you, you can have a luxury player.
Man. I'm feeling fancy if I got to follow Balogun.
Georgi Mihalovic.
Georgi Mihalovic.
Let's say all these guys have said yes. Yes, I'm willing, Greg. Give me the call. You got those. Is that 5 I gave you? I think that's 5 I gave you.
Something like that.
Based on what you feel this team needs, what's the guy you want to look down the bench? It's the 85th minute. And either you're defending a lead, or you need to get, or you're behind in a game. What's the luxury player of those 5 that you would waste a spot? Not waste, but you would use a spot for.
Man, wow. Good Lord. All of them have like issues with sort of like
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, none of them are a slam dunk. You know, there's that, but it's like, which one would you look down the field? You'd be like, I need you. Get suit up.
Yeah, you know, I am in the bag for Georgi Mihalovic. Man, but there's so many. You have attacking weapons. You have a couple guys who can slide into the hole if you need them. I'll say Tim Ream. I'll say because it's
I'm
conservative.
going to tell you, dude, pale horse. I feel the same way, but like I'm telling you, I'm weighing all those guys, and I'm thinking.
We nicknaming Tim Ream Pale Horse at 35? Is that what we're doing? That's happening right now? That's happening? Dude's 35 years old. He's like, now he's Pale Horse. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm just telling you, dude, what the Pale Horse gives you is like, you're probably not going to start him, but for all the reasons defensive, like captaining a Premiership team in good form, makes me look stupid for how much I hated him a year and a half ago. All the reasons that you could find for Tim Ream. The one thing I say is the deal breaker why I bring him over all the other names. The young team and having the veteran leadership that Tim Ream would bring, locker room or otherwise, because we just said you're looking down at this guy with 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, and that's the reasoning. But all the other time at the camp, all the other time on the sidelines and trainings and stuff like that,
stuff matters.
I think that's why you bring Tim
matters.
Ream.
And in a team as young as this, that stuff definitely matters. You know, it's so Walker Zimmerman's 29, Aaron Long's 30. Aaron Long has a little bit more of a national team resume than Walker does, I think, based on pure number of caps. But neither of them have Tim Ream's experience, not even remotely close, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not just about age or like being a professional for 10 or 15 years. It's also about what you've been through. And man, there's nobody else that can replicate
The
that.
one reason I
Nobody.
almost said Balogun instead, because then he's cap tied. So
Well,
there's
there's that.
He could play for a number of different
There's
teams.
that.
But
I mean, I just like saying following Balogun. I keep mentioning the dude because I just want him to. I want him to declare so I can say the United States got following Balogun. I mean, yeah, is that the best name? As soon as he becomes a U.S. international, is that the best name in American soccer history? Who's up there? Give me a name. Give me another name.
yeah, what's the guy that scored all the goals back in the 1950s for the U.S. national team? Dang it.
But I don't know who you're talking about.
No, the guy in the 1950 over England and stuff like that.
Joe Gaichin scored the goal against
Gaichin's
England.
a pretty good name. Joe Gaichin's a pretty good name.
There's is it Buff Dinelli? Was that a guy in like
there's
the
Breck Shea.
30s? The 30s. I'm talking about. Okay, give me modern history. Like, give me 85 on. Best name in American soccer. Breck Shea's the
Joe
best
Max
name.
Moore is pretty badass.
Joe Max Moore is pretty good.
Hyphenated dual Max Moore.
Joe
Max Moore.
Max.
Max Moore. Like you're judo chopping at the same time. Max Moore.
No.
Huh.
That's not where the hyphen is. The hyphen
Joe
is
Max.
in-
Excuse me, Joe Max.
Joe Max. The
Joe
man's
Max.
name is Joe Max.
Joe Max.
Like, that's good. I mean, it's a little trailer, but it's good, Joe Max. That's good.
That's
Come
good.
on. Why are we... Okay.
I'm not sure if there's a better one than that.
Is there a better one
You know,
than
here's
that?
the crazy thing. Joe Max Moore barely makes your 25-year cutoff you were just talking about. Think about that. We didn't even think about it for a second there. He barely makes
Well,
your 25-year
I said 1985. I didn't say 25 years.
Oh, I
I
think
said
it's 25 years. Sorry about that. Okay.
No.
Paul
Paxton
Caligiuri's pretty
Pomykal,
good.
Michael Orozco Fiscal. Michael Orozco Fiscal is pretty good.
Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal.
Shout out to our man Mike in Philly, by the way, who obviously is at this game right now. I know I saw him in our besties Slack, so he was jumping in from his phone. We've had him call live from the River End before, so
Yeah.
shout out to Mike Thomas. He's also quoted in John Arnold's piece about Philadelphia sports and how the Union fit in because the Eagles are 7-0 as of today.
Everybody knows
And
when you
the
want
Phillies
something-
are in the World Series.
When you want the right take, even you go to the best soccer show oddities. You go to the besties even, man. They're better than the
Yeah.
average pundit.
This I know for sure.
My
All
man
right,
Tom Opp in the chat too. Like he's on that level.
Okay, this game's going to get interesting in the last 20 minutes. Anything else right now that you and I need to get into? Like I feel like we're missing something.
Off the top of my head, I don't have anything. But listen, a lot of it's going to be dictated. A lot of the talking points are going to be dictated over what happens in these next 18 minutes of this game. We'll be happy to bring that with you guys next week. But like I said, mainly roster talk next week.
Okay, so I feel bad about leaving it to the very end, but we should absolutely mention the fact that that Portland won the NWSL title last night in DC. Sophia Smith is the truth. Yeah, I suppose, but it can also just be like they won it in spite of merit and they did it for themselves, and it doesn't have to. I mean, it's a little major league. I mean, it's much more intense with what's going on than the movie Major League, but it's a little bit of Major League, right? They didn't win that.
So you're
pennant.
saying that there's a cutout of
Hope not. No, this is not going to go anywhere good. You should stop talking right now. I'm going to save you.
It's got
of
Barrett
this one.
Paulson in a banana hammock,
No,
and there's one
see,
piece left,
no.
and they just took it off because they won the championship.
That's not something you should ever say out loud, ever. Mike, Mary Paulson, sell the team, please. There's a fan group trying to raise money to buy the team. Onward Rose City is a group of fans that are trying to buy the team. Now, they might also partner with some other wealthy individuals because I don't know that fan ownership is allowed under the constitutions of NWSL and Major League Soccer.
It's not uncommon in the rest of the world, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be allowed.
Do you want to
here.
spend any time at all talking about the proposed playoff format changes?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if enough about it. It angered me so much when I saw it that I.
Oh,
was
you
like,
rage quit? You rage quit on
Well,
it?
it's just like, first of all, and credit to Pablo. I know he's the one that's kind of like talking to this. Like, none of the information is official enough to be worthy of me being mad or happy.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when those guys and Sam Statesco was
I
on
know.
my show,
Pablo knows the stuff.
On Friday, Sam Statesco was part of that story too, and also the broadcast story. When those guys report something, that shit's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. So get ready. There's something coming. And by the way, I mentioned this on Twitter when the news first dropped. If MLS does go to what was there was
Which is like a World Cup
hypothetical.
style, like a March
World Cup
Madness style.
Yeah. if they use a group stage to go into a knockout stage, Brian Strauss deserves commission on that shit because Brian Strauss conceived of that idea like 10 years ago or something ridiculous like that.
But here's my thing with it, though, Jason. So the Supporter Shield already is watered down because we have MLS Cup. Isn't this going to make the Supporter Shield even less worthwhile or worth anything? What does it mean to win the league anymore? Because MLS is making more and more obvious that what they truly care about is what happens after the season.
Hold on. Supporter Shield should matter on its own, independent of whatever else happens. Now, I do agree that like the Supporter Shield feels less valid if you're playing a truly like a massively unbalanced schedule. I get that. After this news dropped, I even advocated once you get to 30 or get to 32 teams, because then 16 team leagues or 16 team conferences, and you can just play straight.
How many of the teams make it in this proposed format?
Eight in each conference. It'll be 16 teams total.
Man, so
it's more than half the league right now as of next year.
Man,
and even after that.
I almost would prefer, and I know this is not fair for the teams that qualify for that, to make the Supporter Shield mean more, if that is the goal, and I don't know that is, those teams play a preseason tournament for silverware, and there's a gap. Supporter Shield ends, there's a winner for the season, and you start the next season with this tournament, and there's still silverware on the line, and there's still there's still bursts in the CCL on the line, but maybe you just split it up so that there isn't so much. I don't know. I just feel like this. I almost feel bad for teams when they win Supporter Shield, because it's cool you get in the CCL, but it doesn't mean anything like it does in other leagues.
Look, there doesn't seem, and I agree with it. This doesn't do anything for the regular season mattering more, right? The whole thing was the only advantage to being the higher seed. Well, there is an advantage, but you get 2 home games in the group stage as opposed to 1 if you're a lower seed. It's not great. By the way, the Philadelphia Union are going to the MLS Cup final because they just locked down a 3rd goal. They're up 3-1. I mean, it's possible that NYCFC could stage a comeback.
Max Morales looks like he's done. I mean, he's got nothing left in the tank. I mean, if he comes back and scores a few goals, I'm happy to be the person that cried wolf, but he looks done.
They're calling. I mean, Philadelphia is rocking right now. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, I understand the league's point about, or at least in terms of the reporting, that they want more games and that Apple wants more games.
Yeah.
But this way of doing it is, it's a half measure towards making things matter more in the regular season, which I think should be your first goal. Your first goal should always be, how do we make the regular season matter more? So there you go.
And I don't think that this does that. I don't think this does that at all.
No,
I don't know. There's gives and takes to it, and I get it. And there's I know at the end of the day, MLS is going to do what's best for the pocketbook of MLS and the teams. But I do feel that at some point we are watering down the Supporter Shield to a point where I wonder what it truly means anymore.
All right. I think that's. I mean, look again. We're going to watch the end of this Eastern Conference Final. Looks like we're going to get our 1v1 matchup, East and West, out there in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, Jared.
Hey man, if y'all coming out, hit me up.
Yeah, I think it's.
I won't be at the game. I'm not giving the Bank of California any of my money.
I think it's going to be. It's going to be a good one. I did see that they're going to have parking issues out there because events in Los Angeles.
There's not much for parking. I mean, you could take the train, but
I kind of feel like we should.
It's not a fun. It's not like a normal train you have in most metropolitan cities.
It's the Los Angeles train.
Yeah,
it is. Okay, real quick. I don't have any reason to do this, but the man is here, and I want to see his face. Let's bring on Nicholas Soup and Sausage and see what's going on right there.
Sausage King of Chicago.
There he is.
My
He's
man
giving
made
us
bad choice. He ate some Skyline before the show.
Told us he ate Skyline. Won't tell you the other part of what he said about the Skyline, but he told us that he ate some Skyline.
I'll tell you he said it was worth it. I'll tell you he said that.
He did.
Absolutely.
He did say it was worth it. Okay. By the way, I will report this. I know we've mentioned my show like 4 times already. Usually that's a one-note gag, but Brandon Vasquez was on my show this week, and I asked him about the national team, and but what I said was, I don't even know how I phrased it, but I said something about the national team, and he said, I'm hopeful I'm going to get my chance. I'm going to be rooting for those guys at the World Cup, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, so are you still open to playing for Mexico? And he's like, yeah, I'm still open. Sounds to me like the guy really, really wants to play for the United States of America. So
that's a good thing to
I'm
have.
rooting for him. I mean, I'm not going to be one of those
So
people
you're saying
who
that Matt Miazga hasn't soiled him on Berhalter and the national team?
I guess not. I don't know how close those guys are. I don't know where Jeff falls in.
How
on
much
all
of
this,
Matt
too.
Miazga's thing is just like sour grapes that he's not at the level he once was, and he's second.
I don't.
or third
It's
choice.
impossible to know. It's impossible to know. I think that he dropped off the radar for the national team at the same time his playing time dropped, and he had some issues overseas. So I think those things are probably.
I'm interested to see what he has to
connected.
say, though.
When is he going to say it?
I don't know.
When?
After the World Cup.
He's going to write a book.
Berhalter's not coach anymore. I don't know. Does he feel that his national team chances are over forever? If he does, he'll say it soon.
Yeah.
No one's going to read a Matt Miazga book, but I could see an athletic piece on it.
Man, that's cold, though. You shouldn't.
Damn, dog. That's
So the
in
next World Cup,
books.
Yeah.
he'll be 31.
Matt Miazga will be 31 in 2026.
Yep.
Still a chance.
I mean,
Still a
going back-
chance.
is he
At
going back
center
to
back?
If
Europe?
he's gonna play. He's
Now
gonna
back to
play.
Europe,
Let's
though?
see.
We're actually right now we have this like injury thing happening. Although I do think Mark McKenzie has improved. I know we have these memories and who knows where he's at. But there's like a whole group of kids coming up behind that are going to be pushing for time at center back. Like it's not. I'm not saying that we're like set and it's golden generation stuff. I'm just saying Matt Miazga is going to be an older dude among a bunch of young talented players.
Yeah, but look
so.
at the trend and within the U.S. player pool. At almost every position, less and less MLS, less and less from where we
Sure,
were
yeah.
10, 12 years ago. The only position on the field that really truly tends to skew MLS still is defense. That back line, like there's a higher propensity.
center
of
back.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
where he plays. So the question is, over the next 4 years, is that evolution going to continue, and we're going to be able to make
100%
top
it's
level
gonna
defenders? And if we
Yeah.
do, I don't see Matt Miazga being in that mix.
It's gonna continue there. Obviously, right now there's also like the striker situation with Jesus Ferreira, but there's other guys that are in Europe. I think and there's some depth. Still depth pieces from MLS, but yeah, I think probably it's going to be tough for Matty Miazga.
We also
bust
don't know
back
who
in
the
there.
coach will be in 2026.
That's a good point too.
Because if you ask a lot of people, I'm one of those guys. Maybe hopefully we make a change, but I guess it depends what happens.
Berhalter's run his course.
Don't hope for anything until the World Cup happens. If you're like, okay, look, we got knocked out of the group stage and we played like crap 3 games. Yeah, he shouldn't get a contract extension. There should be no argument about that. But if they get out of the group and hey, if they win a knockout round game, then he probably deserves a new
Besides Yogi
contract.
Löw, like who's a multi World Cup coach that's been successful that you can remember?
Vicente Del Bosque, or let's see who else.
It's not often though. That's the thing. Hitting's been there with a few different teams, but not the same. Like it's not necessarily something that teams do, and that's because you have to change and evolve.
No,
with
in general, I
hosting,
don't think it's a good idea.
With us hosting, you need a very specific coach because
Well,
you're
so-
not doing
so-
qualifying. You need a guy that can be self-motivated outside of qualifying.
I think there's a couple things. And look, I know there's the whole what if Tata Martino really wanted the job and maybe they didn't give him a real chance. He didn't speak enough English and all that stuff. I think you could, and I'm not saying this is the right way to go about it, but I think you can make the argument that the Federation knew that they were basically flushing the player pool and bringing in a whole new group of players, right? And every single one of them was like 19 and 20 and 21 years old.
Yeah.
And probably having 65-year-old Tata Martino in charge trying to speak them through a translator was going to be rough, okay? That was just going to be a rough situation culturally. But when they get past this World Cup, regardless of what happens, and they're all going to be aging for the next 4 years to their 25 and 26 and 27, you don't have to worry about the culture thing as much anymore from the head coach's perspective. Like, you don't have to worry about a guy who gets along with them and rocks the nice kicks. Like, you can just pick a guy who coaches international soccer and does it well.
I think sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the team, and if the team does well at this World Cup, I know that also is an argument to keep Berhalter around, and we'll see how loyal the Fed is. But it's also going to make the job much more enticing for other coaches. And there is an issue of cost. Like, you don't want to pay $5 million to your coach at this point, probably.
Yeah, you do. I'll tell you why. Because you're going to make a shitload of money because you're hosting the next World Cup, and you don't want to be embarrassed.
All right.
Splash the cash on someone
Right.
that's got a proven track record at the international stage, and let him actually do something with the talent. An international coach that matches his style to what his what his talents are, not one that has a style already and has to make the talents fit within it.
All right, fine. Let's call it now. Once this World Cup is over and everything's happening, and who knows what goes on with Belgium, but Roberto Martinez has been there long enough. Let's go out and get Roberto Martinez and bring him in. See what happens.
I'm not mad at Roberto Martinez.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that's the best one, but we have to see who's available.
I mean, it's just one. It's one out there that I know is working in the international game, as opposed to a guy you have to pry away from club soccer right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's fair. There's a few people out there, but I don't know which one will be the guy.
All right, we can't just sit here and wait for Philadelphia to win this thing. We're going to have to leave and go watch the end
Real
of it.
quick, just as a real quick extension of that. How far does Berhalter have to get in this World Cup to make all of us feel unanimously, us three, that he should get another 4 years? Is there a result?
Oh, a semifinal. If he makes a semifinal, he gets another run. For me.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I think it needs to be
quarterfinals is like, you did a great job. How did they play? Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the way that they beat. Who they beat, how they beat them. If they make a semi, regardless of how they make a semi, you bring him back to see if he can repeat it and get.
I think that's fair. I think that's probably the line in the sand for that.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Soup and Sausage, anything else you want to contribute before you run off? And
I got nothing. Appreciate you having me on the show.
All right, thanks for jumping on there. Okay, Mr. Dubois, that's it.
Sausage.
Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow for extra bonus content, access to the Slack. You get to call us names.
This week's gonna be a fun week. It's gonna be a fun week in the Slack. We got a lot of Union supporters and at least one LAFC supporter in there.
At least one. We got one guy from LA who hangs out and takes it on the. Well, we got some LA people, just not LAFC supporters. I guess.
No, Dustin's in there. He represents for LAFC.
No,
I
know, but I'm saying there are Galaxy fans.
Oh
in
yeah,
there
are
at least
sure.
3 other Galaxy fans that are.
A lot of Philly fans in there, and if you're a Philly fan that listens to this and want to try to find some other people that are traveling, the Slack might be a good place to do that.
Yeah. Also, who knows? I mean, obviously out there covering tonight, we didn't.
OMFPG-13, it's JTT!
Didn't get a chance to talk to JTT.
That means JTT's coming to Southland.
He was in D.C. I didn't get a chance to see him because I got family stuff that.
I'm gonna tell him right now. You better get some sandals between your toes. If you're gonna come out here, you could be wearing those Birkenstocks. You gotta get those thongs, like to get that thong life.
Last week, the board was giving me problems and it wasn't working. I got it back. I fixed my computer. It's working again. Did I play the Geo drop or did I just bring it in? Afterwards?
Oh, I don't know if you did or not.
I think I played it, right? I did. Okay, now I need a pale horse.
The production quality on that track is so good.
I need a pale horse drop in case Tim Ream makes the World Cup roster.
If we, I don't know if you're gonna find a pale horse, but a fun one is if you ever watch Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, but they got bad horse.
I don't know what any of that was you just said. Okay.
The geeks out there will know.
We didn't do a pick your poison. Oh babies, incredible. I'm just looking through the board, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, I got both oh babies. I got that good oh baby.
Yeah. Now go back that board up before that piece of a computer of yours dies.
Where are you?
I'm adding. You wanted me to cut this just to that, but I've added.
Where are you?
Because it
Because
relates
that
to his
pause
positional.
is hard to judge when to come back in to start talking.
It's all about you. It's all about you.
I don't control the board. You do.
It's true. All right, that's it. We're going to get out of here. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Best Soccer. Damn it, you got me all messed up. The Best Soccer Show. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
It was there.
Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. What?
Hey, Aaron. Where are you?
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Damn, dog, that's in a post.
Go to DEF CON 2.
You said it, man. Nobody f***s with the Jesus.
Who asked those questions?
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal.
Get to the chopper!
Someone seems to think you have talent. But unfortunately, this is Los Angeles. I need more than talent. I need stars. Enjoy the party.
Jay Rodius.